Hello and welcome to this lecture. And in this lecture we will go ahead and learn something about static files. So what exactly are static files? So right now if you have a look at our website, as you can see the site actually works just fine, but if you look at the design of our website, it looks as if the site is from the 1990s. So we need to make sure that our Django site not only works in a better way but also looks fantastic. So for that very purpose, now we need to learn how we can go ahead and start styling our website. So usually if you already know the front end web designing, then you might know that whenever you want to style a particular HTML file, you always have a CSS file associated with that particular HTML file. Now in this case, we do have these templates here, which is the index.html and the detail.html, and now we need to add CSS files to these particular files. So how exactly can we do that? So we cannot directly go ahead and add those files in here because that won't work fine. Instead, what you need to do is that you need to use something which is called as static files. So in here, what you need to do in the particular project is that you need to go ahead and create a folder and name that folder as static. So let's go ahead and do that. So in the food app, I'll just go ahead, create a new folder, and I'll call that folder as static. Now, just as we have done with templates, that is, we have the templates folder in the food app, and then again inside the templates folder we have this food folder, and then we have placed the templates in that particular food folder. Now in a similar fashion, what we do here is that we go ahead and create another folder in the static folder, and we'll call that as food. And now whatever static files which we are going to have in our application are going to be stored in this particular food folder. Now what we can do is that we can go ahead and add those CSS files in this particular folder right here. Now why exactly do we go ahead and add CSS files into this particular static folder? And that is because all the files which are related to our website, which are static in nature, that is, they are not dynamic, those contents of our website or of our project are going to be placed inside this particular folder right here. So for example, even if you have some static images like the logo or the background image or anything like that, you can go ahead and save those images as well in this particular folder right here. So now let's go ahead and try to create a CSS file in here for the index.html template. So I'll go ahead, go into the food folder, create a new file, and I'll name this thing as style.css. And as you can see, we do have this file right here. Now, once we go ahead and have this file, let's learn how exactly can we attach this file with the index.html file. So as you already know, whenever you want to attach a CSS file to an HTML file, you always go ahead and mention the link of the CSS file in the head tag of the HTML. So now let me just go ahead, cut this code. First of all, write in some HTML code in here. So if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can simply go ahead, type in an exclamation mark, and if you hit enter, the HTML code is going to be automatically added up for you. Now once this HTML code is added, you can actually go ahead and paste the previous code in here, and now if you save the code, everything is going to work just fine. Now the only thing which we need to do is that we need to now add the link to this particular static file, which is style.css, up over here in the head tag. So we go ahead and type in link rel equals, that's going to be style sheet because this is a style sheet, and then we type in href, and what usually we do is that we specify a direct link to the CSS file, but right now as this is in the static files folder, we now need to go ahead and use some template syntax over here to link that particular file. So let me just go ahead and use this syntax right here, and now we want to say that we want to look up for the style sheet in the static directory. So we'll mention static in here, And then we also mention the exact path of our file. So that's actually present in food. So I'll type in food/style.css. So once we go ahead and do that, now this file is successfully linked with the style.css file. Now in order to confirm that, what we will do here is that we'll add some sample CSS code as of now and see if that style is going to be applied to this index.html page. So let's go ahead and add in the style for body. So let's say we want to set the background color of this thing to, let's say, light yellow. So once we go ahead and set that, and if we go back over here and hit refresh, as you can see, we get an error over here, and this error says that did you forget to load or register this tag? So what it exactly means is that, okay, you actually have used the CSS file in here, which is in the template, but even before you use that, you need to actually go ahead and load this particular static file into this particular template. So how exactly can we go ahead and load this particular static file? And we do that by typing in load static files at the top of your template. So you simply type in load static files, simply go ahead and save the code, and when you go back over here and hit refresh, we do again have an error, and that's because this should actually be food slash, not food dot. And if you go ahead and hit refresh, as you can see, the background color of this particular page changes. So we did have some errors over here, and I thought I should actually resolve these errors without editing the video so that you guys will be able to understand how exactly do we go ahead and get rid of the errors. So one more error which you could get is that despite having all the code correct, the color over here might not change. And that's because if your server was already up and running, you actually need to go ahead, after making changes, stop the server and restart the server again. And once you do that, the color will be loaded up over there. So this means that as this page now has a background color, means that we have successfully linked this particular style.css file with the index.html file. Now we can go ahead and using the style.css file, we can style any one of the elements which is present right over here. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand what are static files and why exactly they are used, and how exactly do you link a style sheet with a template in Django. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.